Hi everyone and welcome to the channel if you're new here or welcome back. In this video, I will be rebuilding my peaceful meadow around the new house skin, the cozy star observatory, and also the celestial pond furniture item from the premium shop. I want to create a build in the fantasy medieval style that is inspired by Camelot and King Arthur's court. Merlin's house will fit this theme perfectly, along with a few other character houses that we have in the game, including Rapunzel's tower, Flynn Rider's house, and Aurora's house. For this build, I decided to bring all 4 of the Dreamlight fruit trees to my meadow, and they look really nice framing the central path of the biome. I used to have a lot of my fruit trees and bushes spread throughout the meadow, but in this build I want to hide them from sight. So I placed them in the tight rows behind Aurora and Giselle's houses. One side of the meadow I want to make look more like a town square, and the other side, with the large pond, I want to feel more residential and natural. This is where I placed Snaggly Duckling Tavern and the Hobbit House, also known as a leafy cottage house skin. I'm starting the speed build by laying out the path with Alpine Cobblestone Road, the version without borders. And this is going to be a very organic build, so the paths are going to have irregular, more natural shapes with rounded corners, and I will be placing foliage and rocks to cover the straight path edges. I'm leaving some space around ponds to cover it with greenery later. This area with 2 ponds is perfect for a town plaza that I can leave mostly open. This is going to be a wizard's part of the build with these beautiful celestial themed houses. Between houses I want to have a Merlin's theme functional area and also the sword in a stone scene. I'm using the Celestial Pond as an alternative path entry to the town, but I don't want to block the entire path with it because it is quite narrow to always use it as a main path all the time. I also have 2 other houses that are part of this wizard town, the Potion Brewer's house and the Painted Rose Cottage. And I'm also using Goofy's Tangled Stole Skin to match the rest of the Tangled themed houses. To make the sword in the stone scene, I am repeating the same arch structure as I have in the plaza, with the Romance and Roses archway and marble columns from Storybook Vale. These arches are photo op items, so they have a large footprint in front that can be intersected with some items to a point, so it can be a bit finicky to find the correct placement and rotation to fit them all close to each other, especially at an angle. To block off the distracting views to the beach and Glade of Trust, I'm building the wall with the Night Castle wall kit pieces, and it's gonna take a few tries to find the correct pieces combination to fit in this section. I like to use the short pieces with the windows because it has the surface area to place items on it, and I always like to add candles there. And now I can add crafting and cooking stations with some decor around to fit the wizard's theme, like the celestial items from the early access bundle. And I am using my favorite blue ancient lampposts to match all the blue glowing celestial elements on these houses. To frame the central path and visually separate two sides of the meadow, I'm using mossy stone walls from the storybook crafting menu. I love using them to create these fluid organic shapes. Then I combine it with foliage to create this countryside charming village look. I will be using the same type of foliage repeating throughout the build. And the best thing about the ferns is that they don't have collision, so you can walk through them. That's why I love using them to put on the path edges. For an organic build like this, I don't want to see straight edges anywhere, especially on my paths. And the beach grass item is perfect for layering and creating the visually dense foliage areas. For the right side of the meadow, I'm just gonna have the stepping stones path going around the pond. For the base, I'm making 3x3 path patches to be able to round its edges, and then I will also add the individual rocks to flesh out the path shape. I don't want to clutter up the meadow too much, just to fill the area enough with some foliage to be able to access all 3 ponds for fishing. I'm also using the Pirates of Caribbean item here, the Fountain of Youth, as part of this circle of houses, and to block the Dazzle Beach view. Now, I have been playing this game long enough to know that I shouldn't place houses at the very edge of the biomes, but to leave a path around it instead. Because characters always love to go to the edges of biomes and stand there. There's also items spawning in these hard accessible areas. So I am rebuilding my valley to be more efficient and accessible. For this purpose, I'm trying to not use too many trees to be able to see what's on the ground from the top-down camera view. Since I have these little areas behind the houses, I'm adding some seating areas there, and behind the tavern, I will have an outdoor tavern set up as well. The wall on this side of the meadow serves the same purpose as the wizard's area. I don't want to see the Dazzle Beach from my meadow. There are too many glowing items there, and I'm trying to create this medieval aesthetic in my meadow. So I'm using a lot of rustic and cottagecore items, foliage, and wooden furniture. I added a few ancient wooden lampposts, and as an accent light, I'm using Vitalis Mines lamps to add it near every house as a little cute detail. I hope you enjoy the rest of the speed build, and I will see you for the final walkthrough. Welcome to Camelot in a peaceful meadow. I hope it looks the part. This build is a complete opposite of what I have in the Plaza. The Plaza, it's like King Arthur's castle. And down here in the meadow is the medieval village with wizard's tower and magical ponds. Finally, Merlin was able to move back to the meadow. I always loved his house, but it is hard to match it to anything. The observatory building reminds me a lot of the World of Warcraft architecture. It has this fantasy medieval stylized look, and I tried to use other character houses and house skins to match it. Behind Aurora and Giselle's houses, I fitted Wally's garden, and I'm trying to turn it into a carrot farm, but keep forgetting about it. I like having most of the harvestable trees and bushes tucked away here. I wish we could send them to the floating island to make farm and orchard to save the space and item limit in the main valley. The Dreamlight trees are always bringing an extra magical atmosphere to any biome. They do have a large footprint though, so I couldn't fit too much foliage around it. I also kept the sitting spots accessible for characters. And for the other side of the meadow, I really love how open it is, so I can fish in all the ponds no problem. It is very useful, especially when completing tasks during Star Path. This side of the meadow looks like a mix of Hobbit Village and the Tangled movie, and I'm obsessed with it. I think we could never have enough Tangled-inspired items in this game. Thank you so much for watching. I would really appreciate if you leave a like and subscribe. And I will see you in the next one. Bye everyone!